Welcome to Stephen King Saturday. All right, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, episode 7. We got one more episode left, and then we got
Wow.
to move on.
We're watching
So
The Dark Tower next.
okay.
Yep.
We can.
Why
It's
not?
not good, but
I mean,
we can watch
I'm
it.
sure it's better than The Wizard in Glass.
Okay, now. All right, so let's talk about it. Autopsy, room 4.
I was like, 2.
1, 0. Okay, so we got some really shitty doctors
Yeah.
who can't tell when someone is not dead.
Yeah. Not a good sign.
You know, before we had like the equipment that we have today, you know, this was acceptable.
Right.
But with like
modern equipment.
Now, okay, of course, we're skipping all the way to the end to talk about this, but like the whole point of this in the end is like the coroners missed it because they were too busy playing footsies with the dead.
Right.
Right? Okay, with each other.
They were distracted.
They were distracted because they wanted to hum.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah.
That is why they miss it. It's still terrifying in concept. Even though, I don't know, I guess this is kind of one of the better Nightmares and Dreamscapes overall. Like,
yeah.
It's got a really good premise, and the acting is all right and everything, but I just have been very underwhelmed with these, like, in general. I don't know that I'm a big fan of this actor that plays Bill Denbrough. I don't think I like him. I don't know why.
So of course she's referring to his character he played in the It miniseries.
Yeah,
he plays a different character
here.
Bill
I mean,
Denbrough does return to Stephen King.
I will say that he does a better job, I think, in this than he does in the It.
Because he just lays there and looks dead?
Like his voice acting. And then when we see him moving.
Okay.
That, I think, is better. And
he's a piss poor Bill Denbrough.
But he's a really bad Bill Denbrough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that there is some venom out there that would paralyze you but keep your brain alive, and like, you think that's real?
Maybe. A paralytic?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Would doctors be able to tell you were still alive? Yes.
I mean, yeah, like they would definitely tell that you're still alive. So, one thing I have a question about.
Yeah.
I thought that when you died, I thought your pupils dilated. Because there's no more like like light, like your whatever, it doesn't work, and his are not, which obviously, like,
I think he mentions that.
Oh, does he?
I think
I missed it then.
That up or says something about it in this, but there are definitely going to be signs that a coroner should be able to see. But once again, what we're talking about here is you've got two morgue attendant coroners who are too busy wanting to fuck each other and are just kind of on autopilot. She is, anyways, because he's like an intern or something, right? He's like
he's training, yeah.
But like, he seems fairly old for that. I don't know.
He seems also pretty knowledgeable, but like,
I mean, he went to medical school, so
well, yeah,
so.
yeah.
Like, they just let some random guy from the street.
No, I know
like,
that.
What's that?
I know, but he's just like very, I don't know. He really knows his stuff.
Sure. He's trying to impress his teacher, and he went to medical school for years. I would hope he knows what he's doing. But yeah, you just have to accept with this episode that they are so distracted that they wouldn't notice obvious signs, because there's obviously like certain things that go into an autopsy, right? So because they don't have a cause of death that they're aware of, and then that's obviously why they do an autopsy. You know, there's certain things that they're gonna do, and they take his temperature, but they're not taking like what they would, which is a liver temperature. That's how they really read how long you've been dead, is is your liver temp. So they just take like his outward temperature, which is not how they do it.
Well, they put something up his butt. They put a thermometer up there.
Yeah.
And the guy like even says like he's kind of warm. Like was it
Sure, but they
normal? And
said
she's
he's
just like,
like
oh, he was
baking in the
out
sun.
in the
Yeah.
heat. But
which here in Phoenix, I would buy that.
Absolutely, I would absolutely buy that. It's like, yeah, he was out in 115 degrees for an hour.
Any morgue attendant or coroner
Mm-hmm.
would be able to spot a non-dead person.
Yeah.
Like anyone that's like professional and knows what they're doing.
She should have been able to tell.
And
Even
that's
if
why
he
she's
didn't.
like really upset with herself. Like, how did I miss this?
She's upset, but I feel like he's even more upset because he was the one that was going to actually cut into him.
Yeah.
And it's like you would have killed somebody. Like you would have killed him. And he would have been
sure.
able to feel all of it. It definitely like the thing that works the best about this episode is that like that concept, like you being alive
during an
autopsy would be the worst thing ever. And you've even talked about this where it's like, what if that is what, like not being alive, of course, but like if when you die, if you're like aware, trapped in your body. I don't think that's the case.
Definitely one of my bigger fears.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that's the case. I think it'd be much more likely that you would be like observing it outside if you were even near your body. But I don't even know why you'd want to stay around your body. You'd be like wanting to see your loved ones and like that kind of stuff. But anyway,
no,
but it's
I'd go to a strip club, get in for free.
It's a great concept. It's very freaky and yeah, I mean like it kind of reminds me of how in the olden days they would tie the bell to your toe.
Dead ringer.
Even though there's nothing like that here, but it's like if he can't move, but I guess they could have tied it to his penis and it would have been like
tie one to my penis.
But I mean it's so okay. The other thing that I didn't understand about this episode, besides the like eye dilation thing, he is a veteran.
Yeah.
And he has a bunch of shrapnel in his groin, which has made him impotent.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why he is able to get a hard on.
So I think that's like him overcoming his impotency. And
so
it's like because he's able to overcome it, he gets to save his life. It's like a man. It's the virile man triumphantly returning to life, right? It's like basically, okay, I think it's a metaphor for like a man feels dead without his dick. And when he gets hard, it's like he's been brought back to life. Right?
So it was all a mental block?
I think this is all a total metaphor for like a hard dick equals life. a dead dick makes you feel like you're not a man, that you're not even worth living.
But the shrapnel had nothing to do with like
so
because that's what I was confused about. I thought there was a physical reason why.
I think that he has reoccurring impotency. I don't think that he has straight across the board impotency. I think he fucks his wife occasionally, and occasionally he can't get it up. And in this moment, he's able to get it up to save his life.
I see. That would make sense then.
Because she says, well, this happens all the time. Kind of thing like this has happened plenty of times now that like I'm used to it. If he was truly impotent, they wouldn't even be like, why would they be getting intimate and even trying when it's like my dick doesn't work? Like there's no point. And then like when he's upset about it, it's like he has to have been able to get hard other times, because at this point he's been out of Vietnam for decades.
Right.
You're talking, this is like what, the 2000s?
Yeah.
And Vietnam was in like 1969. Like, dude, this guy's been out of Vietnam a long ass time.
Yeah.
So he definitely knows if his dick works or doesn't at this point. And I think that just the shrapnel affects him, and it's harder for him to get hard. And so, but yeah, I do think this is a metaphor for how you feel if your dick doesn't work.
Makes sense.
And if Stephen King was on all the cocaine he probably had fucking like whiskey dick here and there from all the drinking he did and whatnot. I don't know. Do you have hard-on problems with cocaine?
I have no idea.
I don't either. I don't know anything about cocaine. even though I've been accused of being on it on this channel. I don't get accused of that anymore, but I used to back in the early days because I had a lot of allergies living up in Sedona.
Oh, yeah.
And like there was a period of time where I was like really sniffling a lot. And obviously I'm a very like animated person. And so people are like, he's on drugs. My bro, if you knew me, if you really knew me, like Kaylee does, like,
yeah.
the idea
like,
of me taking cocaine,
oh my God,
would be so laughable to you.
Oh my God, it would be ridiculous.
Do you imagine?
No.
Do you imagine me taking like
I think
being
you
like,
would
I'm gonna
die.
do a line?
I think you would die.
I do too.
I think you would actually die. I think you would like make yourself have a heart attack.
100%.
From your anxiety and the cocaine in your system.
Yeah.
Even if it was like the smallest amount of cocaine.
The mixture of my panic attack I would have with the effect of cocaine, I do think would kill me.
Yeah.
So that it's just when I was being accused of being on cocaine back in the day, I was like, dude, if only you knew how ludicrous your claims are. They're ridiculous. I won't even take like a
caffeine,
like an ibuprofen.
He doesn't even take caffeine in his
I won't even take like a Tylenol or ibuprofen
or
unless
Advil.
Kaylee like fucking like holds a gun to my head.
Yeah, I've had to force him to take those before.
I do not like putting anything in my body like that. I hate it. It's a literal phobia of mine. Yeah. Like to claim somebody with a phobia of drugs is taking drugs is so fucking funny. Anyways, moving on. So the fact that we have a doctor who is walking around with hazardous waste materials, no protective material on his body, like gloves, eyewear, anything. He's just willy-nilly walking around with it in buckets, transporting it on in-use elevators with other staff and other patients. And he's also, whilst doing this, smoking a cigarette in a hospital. I'm like, dude, I don't know what time period this is. But OSHA has got concerns you need to listen to. Yeah.
I don't think he's a doctor though. I thought he was like an orderly or like a morgue attendant or whatever. But it's the same thing though. He's not a doctor. But it's the same thing though, what you're saying.
He's in the medical field.
He should still be like, that's not how it works. Like,
he does want to rip people off like while they're dead.
He does.
He's like, I'm going to steal his golf clubs and whatever.
Which is really shitty. But
there's no way he's walking because he's in an elevator with like another doctor. Yeah. And he doesn't say anything.
Yeah. I like that, like, because his character is like the asshole of and he, has a redemption where he like runs up there and is like, this dude's not dead, like, which I liked.
Sure, he's the one who saves him. Mm-hmm. And okay, you said he was like a knowledgeable doctor, but I'm gonna have to call a little bit of bullshit because his hypothesis turns into, I think he might have been struck by lightning.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There was not a cloud in the sky. It was a bright and sunny day, and this guy has no scorching marks of any sort on his body. Yeah. Where he said, oh, maybe he was holding his golf club, and the golf club was like an antenna, and it, was struck by lightning through his hand. You have any idea how burned his hand would be if he was holding on to like a lightning rod, essentially? Yeah. Like what? There would be clear signs of being hit by lightning. The fact he says maybe he was hit by lightning, but he's supposed to be like, he's already out of med school. Yeah. Is beyond insane to me.
Yeah, you're right. That's a super silly claim. Or hypothesis, I suppose.
Fucking absolutely ludicrous. Did you guys know that the internal temperature of a bolt of lightning is hotter than the surface of the sun?
It's wild.
So, yeah, no, there's going to be marks. There's going to be marks. When you get hit by lightning,
there's going to be marks.
There's going to be evidence to suggest that. Trying to make out over a dead body.
Yeah, it's weird. But they're so distracted by each other, and they're used to it, yeah. And, yeah.
They missed it because they were playing patty cake, is what I wrote. And I don't know how, like, when the doctor, okay, so they, they are calling a code the over the speakers, right? So the guy's coded, and they bring in a crash cart, and somehow, I don't know how the fuck this is supposedly working, but the doctor who's called in with the crash cart and nurses, he brings in the crash cart, and it has like a defibrillator, it has all these things on it. He just puts oxygen over his face, and he's like, "All right, buddy, okay, you're coming out of it now."
I don't
So
understand how that
how
worked
did
either.
oxygen, because literally it's the only thing he does, act as an anti-venom, which is what he would need? So what would really need to happen in this scenario is, so the way this works is that they need to identify the snake that bit you.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, they'll send out a team to try to assess what kind of snake bit you so they know what kind of anti-venom to use, because every snake has different kinds of venom.
Yeah.
And you need a specific strain. And sometimes they can even make it from the snake that you got bit by.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, they go out and they find it, and then they assess, like, okay, it's a python, it's a whatever. And then they go, okay, you can have the antivenom or whatever. And fun fact, once you use antivenom once, you're screwed. If you ever get bit again, you can't use it a second time. Or at least that's my knowledge of it. Please correct me if I'm wrong on any of this stuff, as always. I'm fine being wrong as long as the truth is out. But yeah, that's something you have to identify it. And they do. They have it. They have it in the elevator. So they would know, like, oh, this is that kind of snake, because it would be, it would be from that area, right? So the fact that he just kind of comes in and a snake venom that is paralytic like that, it just, that the fact that there's no like anti-venom given to him, the fact that they don't find the snake and go, it's this kind of snake, this is how we treat this. He just brings in oxygen and gives it to him, and he's like, oh, I'm awake now and I'm fine. I can move all of a sudden. Like, what?
Makes no sense.
Why didn't you give the guy on the elevator who got bit and was paralyzed as well?
He gets bit like.
He gets bit more.
He gets bit like on the neck.
I don't care.
I just think that
oxygen ain't curing it.
It isn't. I guess the only explanation I have is that it was like because he got bit on the foot, somehow it was taking longer to get to like his heart and his brain.
Do you know how long it takes for blood to travel around your body?
That was my only. That was my only. That was my
feet to your
only
head, to your brain.
Comeback that I had, and that the other guy got bit like right on the neck.
It's very quickly.
Yeah.
It's very, very quickly. Your blood cycles through your whole body.
I know.
Very quickly. So if I inject something into your vein and I get it right into the artery and I inject it, it goes through your body and knocks you out within seconds, because it's going through your entire cardiovascular system very quickly. So this is terrible idea.
I'm tired. I don't know what else to say about it.
Anyways, I just studied a lot about health because I'm a hypochondriac. So that's why I know a decent amount about that kind of stuff. So anyways, that's that. One more.
Yeah.
And that is what? It is, this one. They got a hell of a band. Okay, I remember this one. All right. Okay, so that's the last one. We'll see you next week for that. And Kaylee's too tired to continue on to Slasher Sunday. That's all right. I still love her.
Bye.